This is our final project on social media addiction by Maria Daly, Diana Nisbet, Mallory Posnecker, and Aaron Baum.
So the different social media platforms that are used today are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, which replaced Vine, and Snapchat. Facebook is used mostly for keeping connected with friends and family through status updates, sharing photos and videos, and now a lot of news is spread through Facebook as well. Instagram is used primarily for sharing photos or short videos, and people from all over the world follow each other, not just close friends and family like on Facebook. Celebrities also have a high Instagram presence as well. Twitter is mainly used for sharing news, thoughts, ideas, and opinions or daily updates through words. Photos or short videos can also be posted. Once again, celebrities have a high Twitter presence, and people from all over the world follow each other and follow those celebrities. TikTok is the replacement for Vine, where people create and post any type of video content they choose, from about 15-second to 3-minute long videos. Millions of people have hopped on the TikTok train, and it's now becoming one of the most popular apps of this generation. Snapchat is also used for sharing photos, but this is more personal, as you can only add people you know or accept your request, and the photos only go directly to the person you choose to send it to, or to your story, where selected friends can view it. All of the photos or direct messages shared to Snapchat disappear after 24 hours.
So, what causes social media addiction? When you get a like on a post, you may tend to get a warm, fuzzy feeling, and this is your brain acting on the reward system. This is the same reaction that the brain releases when it's addicted to drugs, and all addictions act on the variable reward system. Studies have also shown that platforms like Facebook have had a lot of features of an addictive activity, which can include the variable reward system, ease of use, and feeling anxiety when not using it. Using social media can also cause rewarding experience, which in return release dopamine, and over time, this release of dopamine trains a person to want to check social media more and more often.
It is proven by scientists that carrying around phones is basically like carrying around dopamine stimulators in our pockets. In a TED Talk video, they explain to us how social media makes us terribly at multitasking and can cause people to have phantom vibration syndrome, which is a syndrome that makes you think that your phone is going off when your phone really is not. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that motivates people to do things for pleasure. Social media also involves broken reward pathways in our brain pathways. This is what also happens in gambling and other substance addiction. The reason social media is used to so much is that it provides immediate rewards for users. It makes you strive for attention. Because of this, your brain starts changing itself, making you want likes, retweets, and comments praising you. It is said that 10% of internet users are physiologically addicted to social media, and they cannot control how long they spend on it. Brain scans of people who have social media addictions are very similar to people who have drug-dependent brains. The reward center in our brains is mostly active when people are talking about themselves. Social media is all about bringing attention to yourself. Most of the time, people naturally talk about themselves 30 to 40% of the time anyway. So people on social media talk about themselves 80% of the time. When someone gets positive feedback from a post that they made, it is somewhat of a reward for the brain, which leads you to have social media habits going back and check to get that reward. Because of dopamine release in your brain, your body automatically starts thinking that it makes you happy. So when you are feeling down or depressed, you will have the urge to go check social media.
Social media can be very problematic in children because their brains are far more malleable compared to other age groups. When we reach adolescence, our reward system develops faster and is more active. Our self-control system, on the other hand, does not fully develop until we are about the age of 21. When children are actively using social media, it can overstimulate their reward system as well as their reward responsiveness. Excessive use and Addictive use can also cause structural changes in the brain, and it was found that the reward system in the brain was actually smaller, which then causes associations at a faster rate.
When social media was first created, there was a lot of people who thought that it would be a positive reinforcement for self-esteem and communication styles, but there's a significant body of research that suggests it actually has the opposite effect. It triggers comparison with others and can raise doubts about self-worth, and that can lead to mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. Researchers haven't yet been able to prove a direct causative relationship between social media and mental health. However, it seems more than a coincidence that rates of anxiety and depression in young people have risen currently with those who use social media. There's also been a higher rate of suicide, 31%. There's been a 31% raise in suicide in young women as well. Comparing yourself to photoshopped photos, a lot of young girls develop low self-esteem because they're comparing themselves to others on social media who use unrealistic images, and those images are then kind of taken by society, and that's what you're told you need to look like or what you need to be like. So then women and young girls especially kind of take that and think, oh, I need to look a certain way, or I need to look like that body type, or I need to do this to make sure that I get more likes on social media, or if I don't look this way, I'm not going to have friends. Social media also leads to disordered eating. They see these images and these photoshopped like bodies, and they think they need to look like that, so then they will develop a bad relationship with foods or certain foods that social media says is kind of bad for you. Social media also leads to narcissistic tendencies. Social media may encourage self-obsession. You've no doubt seen people fixated on getting the perfect selfie for their social media accounts. And Facebook has reported that researchers, let me rephrase that. Users become locked into a single persona and self-edit what they share on social media to comply with this persona. And yeah.
We all know that people have a tendency to post things on social media that make it look like their lives are really good or that they are doing really exciting things. All too often, this is just a facade, only part of the picture, and it's not based in reality, but just what the person wants people to see. The End Now Foundation reports that people fake happiness on social media for many reasons, including the need for social approval, the fear of looking like a failure, an obsession of competing with others, insecurity about themselves or their lives, and craving likes or positive feedback.
Social media has a huge impact on interpersonal communication, and it's actually creating a communication skills gap between older generations and younger generations. The younger generations are missing out on basic social styles and realizing what other people mean and body language issues. So they don't understand or get the message behind certain facial cues or body image cues. It eliminates the need for face-to-face communication, so then they don't know how to pick up on tones that other people are exhibiting. It also impacts the strength of relationships with others. Most young adults, my thing's not working. Most young adults, then they just kind of go off of the amount of friends that they have on Facebook or the amount of followers they have on Instagram, and it's a lot less of a deep relationship with others. They are kind of just focused on the basic top level of hey, I know their name and I know kind of what they're into, and they don't develop they don't know who they are as a person or what makes them who they are as a person. And then, like I said earlier, communication using social media takes away the need for just basic life skills, like knowing what certain things mean, or knowing what certain what certain, like, I'm failing at this. What certain, like, body language means in, like, relationships and just conversations.
Social media is a big part of many people's lives these days. It can have a positive influence and a negative influence. Some bad habits that can form because of social media use can be checking it every few minutes, feeling like you have to have it everywhere, being on it at night when you should be sleeping. Here are some places where social media addiction has a negative impact on people's lives. Social media has definitely affected the way we communicate nowadays. It affects your cognitive connections. Sometimes it can be hard to get your point across through text or phone calls. Because you're not talking right in front of the person, it is easier for people to hide who they are through social media. It can have emotional effects on people's lives. It can also affect emotion. Many studies have proven that social media causes stress, bad mood swings, and negative mental health issues. Some ways it can cause bad moods and stress is by seeing the standards of what is on social media and trying to stand up to it. It can cause you to think that you're not good enough, then that will lead to depression. It can also lead people to lie about who they are on social media so that they can be accepted by others. Social media can also affect health. It can mess with someone's sleep schedule if they are on social media while they should be sleeping. Lack of sleep can lead to many issues in someone's life. It can lead to lack of focus, weariness, and someone who is constantly falling asleep during important meetings or classes.
And then now we just have a short video to better depict what social media addiction is like.
So I've got my essay written, and I've been working on it for about a week. So now I'm going to show you how I use Grammarly to edit. Okay, so here's my...
That was a commercial.
I wish I had enough time to...
Changed. There it is.
And finally, we just have some tips to prevent social media addiction. So just talking about it. So for example, like when parents talk to their children about the harmful effects of drugs, they should also talk to their children about social media addiction and how that behavior can become problematic. And setting boundaries is very important, as well as goals and rules on the usage of social media. And media time calculators are a very good way to measure the amount of time spent on social media. And then practicing screen hygiene is very important, especially for parents, because if parents are using their device at the dinner table, their children are more than likely to do the same thing. So it's very important to show the behaviors that you want your children to teach or to learn as well, and what behaviors are appropriate and what are not. And then creating a balance is very important. Having a screen time can be very beneficial, but if used improperly or too much, it can create bad habits. And turning off your notifications is also a very good tip, because the constant sound of notifications triggers a reward system in the brain, and it's very hard to resist the urge to check your phone if the notifications keep ringing. So by turning the notifications off, it can allow for better concentration to the task at hand and limit the amount of time a person spends on social media.
And then according to Pennsylvania studies, it is shown that limited amount of time on social media can help reduce these issues. A more effective way to end social media addiction is by teaching people to practice intermittent reinforcement.
And then here are our references.